Hey, yo, passive income is probably the #1 reason why you're watching this video right now. Everybody wants to make money without doing anything. Well, the opportunity and the horizon is among us. Cryptocurrency is offering an opportunity called liquidity. You can provide liquidity to these programs and actually make percentages guaranteed. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video, and we're talking about liquidity provision. This is not a new concept of cryptocurrency. It's been in traditional finance for a very long time. It just happens to be that cryptocurrency is more lucrative. So we're gonna be talking about these protocols that I have in the top of my head, things that have been going around. I don't have a chart for you. I don't have any research. This is simply the truth and what I have to talk about in cryptocurrency. If you appreciate the honesty, the fact that I'm an actual human being and I'm not reading off a script, do us both a favor, hit that subscribe button, as well as the push notification bell, and feel free to like this video and share it with your friends. You know, who knows? Might do a giveaway or something, or buy a Tesla or something. I don't know. But yeah, if we move into the content, I just want to talk about liquidity provision for a little bit. If you don't know what that means, essentially, we have these protocols on the internet, right? They're basically standalone, decentralized protocols. If you don't know what I'm talking about, guys, you got to do some reading. But these decentralized protocols are autonomous organizations. They're essentially run by the community. Now, the big problem right now is that a lot of these blockchains don't know how to, they can't connect. They're kind of like, it's not a problem anymore. We're getting interoperable blockchains. But a lot of the issues arise from the fact that they're kind of excluded in their own blockchain. Now, there's ways of getting around it, right? And one of the ways is having pools of money. So these pools of money, you can invest in the pool of money and own a percentage of the pool. These pools of money allow for basically more adaptability. You can use the pools of money to do certain things, create certain decentralized products. This is why it's called DeFi, right? Decentralized finance, right? So there's a lot of these traditional instruments that increase capital efficiency in traditional finance. So like there's a whole bunch of things, right? For example, you could take out a loan, or you can give a loan, right? You can invest in a bank and get a savings account. There's so many different tools. I honestly would not be able to come off the top of my head. There's trenches, there's so many things. But basically, in cryptocurrency, you can provide and give them your money so they can create these tools, right? And they'll give you a percentage back, right? So liquidity protocols I'm looking at. Now there's one side, it's crazy. We can get lost in this, but basically one thing you want to look for specifically in cryptocurrency, being that it's a pool, there's something called impermanent loss. You want to avoid that by all costs. And how it basically works, and we're gonna piggyback off of Uniswap because it's the biggest liquidity in DeFi. When you go to Uniswap, there's basically a section where you can provide liquidity in 2 different coins. It's a pair, right? And the reason why you put a pair is because they use this pair to swap back and forth. So for example, if you want to switch, I don't know, Uni token for Ethereum, there'll be like a Uni pair, Uni ETH pair. It'll say literally UNI-ETH, right? And there's a whole bunch of pool of everybody that's provided liquidity. They use this because if somebody wants to swap from Ethereum to Uni, they can click a button on Uniswap, and then it will go to the pool, it will take out the Uniswap, throw in the Ethereum, and take the Uniswap, and then give the person the Uniswap. So you can see right there that the liquidity you provided for that pool is now an actual tool that they can use to make money in transaction fees, and then a portion of those transaction fees are given back to the pool and what you make. And this is just one example, and this is one of the biggest examples, which is Uniswap. So you can provide liquidity, but impermanent loss. Bring it back to that discussion. The 2 coins you pick, if they separate in price by a lot, technically you lose money. You actually lose the undefined asset. Now, Uniswap is coming out with version 3, and this is a whole nother topic. Maybe I'll make a video in the future. I did make a video about the announcement. Maybe I'll explain it in more detail in the future. But basically, impermanent loss happens when the 2 assets that you pick in the pool start separating in price. Once they separate in price, it's hard to explain. Again, I would need a computer for this to accurately explain it with charts. But you essentially lose the underlying asset. You keep the percentage of the pool, but you lose the underlying asset slowly, right? So if you're gonna provide liquidity, I highly recommend you do vaults instead of like pairs. And if you do pairs, make sure you use stable coins, right? I highly recommend it. You can still get some good APY with stable coins. You get like to 10 to 20% depending on the platform you use. Now there's this new thing that just came out with Bancor, BNT, where they provide one-sided liquidity where you can actually give like a pair, like an Ethereum pair or a volatile asset, and there's no impermanent loss. But the way they mitigate that is through the transaction fees of the network. So there's still technically impermanent loss, It's just they mitigate it with the network fees. They pay it off with the network fees. So that's an interesting concept. Maybe if you want to provide liquidity on Banker network, that might be an option. Yearn Finance has vaults. I currently took out some liquidity because you make more money trading, and that's what I do, right? But Yearn Finance has vaults that are paying like 15% APY. Basically, it's not actual liquidity. In this case, it's called farming. But basically, they take your money in the pool and they go use it to find arbitrage in cryptocurrency. They use it to exploit different price differences. They basically make money by moving the money around, and then they allocate you a percentage, right? So that's another thing. But basically, you guys want to just look at DeFi applications, and you want to find, and this will be the kind of the strategy for liquidity provision. Now that you understand what it is, this is what I would look for. Number one, when it says APY, right, annual percentage yield, make sure it's not ridiculous, okay? If it is ridiculous, if it's over 20%, then that means it comes with inherent risk. There's a couple of risk vectors, okay? Number one, right, it's gonna be the risk of contracts, right? The actual smart contract itself. Remember I told you it's an autonomous organization. These are decentralized apps. So what that basically means is that somebody can go and exploit it and take a whole bunch of money from the contract. They could do an economic attack. They could do a literal attack. Whatever the case is, this has happened a lot in DeFi. And if there's a lot of APY, that means that there's more inherent risk. That means that not a lot of people are using it because of that risk. Now, if the APY is lower, then it gets safer, right? Because more people are providing liquidity. Does that make sense, right? So use that as a way to look at it for risk. Anything over 20% is an anomaly. It's not gonna happen, right? It's over time, it's gonna get mitigated down or someone's gonna get hacked. Number two, avoid impermanent loss. Of course, that's another thing. Number three, I think is really important, and I'm gonna draw the line in the sand, and I do this with my investments. This is one of my principles when investing liquidity. Make sure the founders are not anonymous. And I say that because remember, you're putting all your money into this pool. Some of these projects actually have a key, and they can withdraw the money and take it and run, okay? So if the person is anonymous and you don't know who they are, the chances of them doing something malicious to their own protocol is pretty high. So if you're providing liquidity to any platform, pay attention to that. It's very important, okay? A couple of other things about liquidity provision. Trade, honestly. I know you're here for to make easy money, but there's nothing easy in life, right? There's gonna be a whole strategy that you're gonna have to come up with when moving your money around if you wanna get higher annual percentage yield, right? You wanna get high annual percentage yield for the lowest risk possible. There's gonna be a strategy. You're gonna be moving your money a lot. So it's mostly for people that have a lot of capital. So if you have less than like $50,000 of cryptocurrency, I wouldn't recommend it for most people, especially when the transaction fees are like $200 to get into some of these pools and $200 to get out. That's eating up most of your APY, right? So this is a game for big money most of the time until they change it. I know Binance Smart Chain has some liquidity provision opportunities with pretty much 0 to no transaction fees. So that's interesting. Maybe you can jump on some of those, right? But most of the time, remember, when you're focusing on multiple things, chase 2 rabbits, catch none. So I highly recommend considering 20% is an anomaly. You're not gonna find it that much. You're not gonna find too much, 20% opportunities that are sustainable. I recommend trading. I can make a 20% in one day, right? So don't be penny wise and dollar opposite. Just because there's an opportunity to make money while you do nothing doesn't mean you should take it, right? I personally rather work for my money so I can guarantee the success of my growth, right? Remember, like when you're doing liquidity provision, it's submitting to your most primal needs, which is making money with no effort. Everybody wants to make money with no effort, right? But if you do the exact opposite of your primal wants, if you do the exact opposite of what like eating a donut, right? You get fit, right? So I recommend do something harder. I actually like looking for business opportunities that are hard because if they're hard, then I know that it's profitable and lucrative, right? So personally, right now, I don't have any liquidity. I took it out of the Yearn vaults. I rather trade my money. If I did the math, if I would just put it in Ethereum the day I provided it, I would have made like probably 200% more than providing liquidity. So, it's a game for maybe the big investors that don't want to do anything and retire or something like that, maybe. But yeah, that's my thoughts on liquidity providing. That's it for this video. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one.